Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning into the Warrior Mindset Podcast. I'm Dr. Martin, your host, and today I got an awesome guest, military brother named Jeremy DeVault, and he's here today to just kind of tell you his story. So the idea of this podcast is to really work on interviewing individuals and finding out what makes them tick. The day we're born, we put on an armor, right? And we become a warrior every day, whether we're a little kid growing up, whether you're adults, we may have had pitfalls, we may have fallen in quicksand, we may have been spinning our wheels along the way, and then all of a sudden, boom, we hit pay dirt. But I'm really interested from a former military type of guy who had that foundation, pretty good upbringing in New York, military guy. Was fortunate enough to spend, most of my 6 years in the Special Forces and the SEAL team. But I have this foundation of, you just never quit, right? You just never quit. And also, too, is the only easy day is yesterday. So every day is a battle. We got to get up in the morning. We got to fight every day, right? And today we have a very special guest, former Army veteran, Jeremy DeVault. And Jeremy, hey, let's a little handshake, bro. Good one. Thank you very much for coming on the show. Jeremy, just, give everybody a little bit of, some of your background. We're going to dig deep, and we've known each other a little bit from a business point of view, and we're definitely going to get into that a little bit. But are you from the Central Valley, California?
Yeah, Fresno, Madera, Clovis. I moved around a lot as a kid, right? So,
How many kids in the family?
2, just me and my older brother.
And your older brother?
Yeah.
Did you go to school in Fresno?
Yeah, I went to Wawona in Fresno, and then Fresno High for a few days. I mostly was in Madera and Clovis.
And where'd you go to high school?
Madera High and Clovis High.
And then, so from your foundation, your older brother, correct?
Yeah.
And a couple of years older?
2 years.
2 years. I got one 2 years younger, so yeah, I can see that. Were you guys one of those guys that a little bit of sibling rivalry? Were you guys always
competitive, fighting?
Yeah,
it's
all the
going
time.
down.
Yeah, and then you pick each other, but you guys could fight each other, and this is where it'll transform into your military career, I'm sure, is that you could fight each other, right, and knock each other out, but nobody better mess with your brother or vice versa, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. That's always, it seems like, that typical, American type of family with, the siblings and they'll fight each other to the death, but then don't anybody let, you could be pissed off if somebody tries to jump in on you or your brother. Yo, man, this is between, and then you do 2 against 1. And the other guy's like, man, I was trying to protect you. No, man, you don't get between 2 brothers.
Only time my brother's suspended is backing me up one time, hitting some kid in school,
How is that? It's a good question from that point of view because, I think military guys, for the most part, we've had plenty of scraps, in our high school days and things of that nature. Did you have that too, like in growing up in school? Oh yeah,
everyone in school will tell you I'll knock you out quick. Yeah.
So how was that when you got home? Because some parents are a little bit different, like with, Johnny, especially nowadays. Dude, we'll get into that later. Just the way our society is, that wokeness and whatever. If you got in trouble, you got in a fight at home, right? I got a fight in school. What happened when you went home? Did anybody ever? Your parents?
Mom's getting the belt, the ping pong paddle. Mom wasn't playing.
So was it more mom than dad?
Yeah, my dad was in and out of prison.
Oh, okay.
So
stuff
it wasn't
like that.
A
big part.
Yeah. I had a stepdad for many years. Bless him. He's still around.
Good.
But no, dad wasn't around all the time back then.
Yeah.
Dad, it's funny. Dad would teach me how to fight though. If I come home with a black eye, he said, "You got hit. You better put your arms up." And he would start jabbing me a little bit.
And just see,
yeah.
So for next time.
Yeah, no, I'm not losing. You're losing. Don't come home.
My dad, white dude growing up in the Bronx in the 50s. So you can just imagine. I mean, he was one of those guys. And then he became a high school teacher.
Tough guy.
And just in his own right, you know what I mean? And, wasn't a very big guy, but he was one of those guys, and, growing up in New York City, he's like, you're going to scrap all day long. But he goes, hey, man, I lost just as many as I won. But he told me when I had a couple fights in high school was like, I fought this one kid, jumped me in the bathroom and this and that. I wound up taking care of business, and, teachers come and you wind up getting, suspended. My mom picks me up and she's like, wait till your dad gets home. And I'm like, shit. you know, he'd be in trouble. So I get home at 3:00. He's a teacher. He gets home at 3:00. And usually as a boy in high school, you're playing whatever sport's possible. You know, I was running track, baseball, whatever the heck it is, soccer. And he's like, what are you doing home? I'm like, shit. I got suspended. And he goes, for what? I said, for fighting. And I'm like, shit, now it's coming. And he goes, did you start the fight? No, sir. Did you finish the fight? Yes, sir. Don't let it happen again. He walked away. And I was like, beeline out to the yard, like not to be in the same house, because I knew it was like, oh my God, there's going to be more questions asked or something. But he was one of those guys too. It's like that. And I think those little things with our podcast along the way, you know, we're building foundations on who we are as individuals. You know, in your case too, you're not going to back down to anybody, but you're also going to know, well, probably shouldn't be doing that. So I'm going to get my ass handed to me at some point somehow, whether it's suspension, you know, a ping pong paddle, or whatever the case may be, you know, a suspension by your family too. Like, no, you ain't going, listen, you didn't start the fight, you didn't finish the fight, but there's going to be some repercussions. And guess what? You're not going out Friday night. And I took that with, thank you, Jesus. That's all I got. I'm good to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So my thing is writing sentences, man. I had to write over 500,000 sentences.
No way. Your mom or the school or both?
Both. And then my stepdad was a gardener, right? So he works hard. That's physical, right?
Yeah.
And when they were together, we had a nice yard, right? About 1.5 acres. Well, next to our fence, nothing but weeds. So I'd be out there all day. I would get suspended maybe once a month from school. I was high suspension rate. I was probably not going to make it. People thought I'd probably be a troublemaker, right? And fair enough, was for a little bit, right? But yeah, so I either was pulling weeds, having blisters, hands bloody, but I think that builds that warrior, right?
That's exactly it.
And so
because we'll go into some details later, you know, from a warrior, you know, like I was in for 6 years, but you know, the time frame that I was in wasn't a combat veteran. But those are the things as veterans, listen, if your time is there, your time is there. But with your case, obviously you had some, you know, combat time, but it does build you for that mindset of like,
don't quit.
And this is pulling weeds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, you know, and I know you get into boot camp, or I went through BUDS, and you know, as the Army's infantry and all this, you know, it's like sometimes you're like, just get through it. It's just like pulling weeds. You know, I'm gonna start that one now on this podcast. It's like, you know, from Jeremy, man, it's just like pulling weeds. And believe me, I did those things. Oh my God, rock walls and pushing a lawnmower, but it builds the foundation of who we are today. And I think as we continue on with this conversation, you know, we'll get into what's going on with society now. Nobody's pulling weeds. You know, these young kids ain't pulling weeds.
No one wants to work.
No.
I don't know how they pay their mortgage.
I don't know.
Because if I take days off, I'm struggling.
Yeah, same here.
Right?
Yeah. No. Were you an athlete in high school?
I was. Played basketball mostly. I got into Division III in the summer league with Fresno, actually. Realized I was on the bench more than on the court. And then I'm getting dunked on now just by shooting guards, right? This isn't high school, right?
Dunked by shooting guards.
So I was a shooting guard, right? So the other shooting guard's 6'6" now I'm facing, right?
Yeah.
And he's dunking on me all day. So NBA's done, right? Yeah, I started getting into trouble. So my buddy pulled me in the recruiting station.
Now we use, you know, I mean, you know, he's got some signs. Yeah, okay, so
skinny. I've been skinny. I'll show you some Army pictures. I was 120 pounds. We'll put
those on the video.
You know?
Yeah. You went to boot camp like 120?
120 pounds, yeah.
Wow.
But that's why when I'm growing up fighting, though, I'm already knocking people out at 120 pounds, right? And people will tell you that. I hope they watch this. They'll tell you, we backyard fought for lunch all the time, senior years, like put on UFC gloves, whoever didn't like each other, just going at it. There's about 100 of us meeting at a house.
Did you guys, and this is like, I'm a little bit older, so you know, it was in a little different time. In the Army, did you have smokers? They used to call them smokers. So what a smoker is, they'd have actually in the MWR, the morale wellness, basically the gym. Dude, they had a ring, and there was Friday afternoons in the SEAL team. We'd have smokers, and you put on headgear and weighted gloves, and you just you just have at it, and you know, you have a little. You may not tell the guy you got a little bit of a grudge, but you go, "Come here, Johnny."
You know it.
Oh.
Each other can feel it.
Yeah.
Right?
And all of a sudden and it's just like the old Rocky. I can't remember which one when he lost to Apollo Creed. And then right at the end, it's kind of where the credits are coming up, and they had to settle the fight. And then Rocky puts in, it was Apollo Creed puts the mouthpiece in, and he's like, ding, ding. Because they're going to have, it's in the darkest by themselves, they're going to see who the real winner was. You know what I mean? And those smokers, and even when you were a kid, it was just you and the guy. And then 3 minutes, man, I'm telling you what, man, I thought, we're team guys, and it's like, boxing is MMA is no joke. You get gassed quick. If you don't know how to use your energy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
No, I would fight for the Army sometimes as well. So really? You get gassed.
Was it more? Is it like just a UFC or is it boxing?
It's more of jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu,
like on the ground. You're not able to throw strikes.
You're
grapple
able to, type of thing.
Yes, that's all it is. It's not. I wasn't that good or nothing.
Yeah.
I just was a unit instructor. That's it. But as a private, that's not too bad. No,
not at all.
But guess why I got there?
Because you had.
Because I like to fight. Yes. Yeah. So my captain goes, "Oh, you like to fight? This is your third fight since you got here. Okay, you're gonna go get knocked out now." Yeah. So he sent me to level 2, and you go to level 3. Yeah. And then level 2, I remember just standing out. These guys are huge. I'm small still in the Army, right?
Yeah.
Infantrymen, special forces. Yeah. I mean, you guys are a little beef more.
But people, that's a great point, because people think that like I'm a little bit bigger now than I was in the teams because I'm lifting weights. I'm doing more of a a purpose for my lifting and whatnot. And then like what you got right now is because you put in the work. But that is a misnomer, isn't it? Because people think everybody's 6'5", 230 pounds.
And
no, man.
They're 5'6", 100 pounds.
Yep. I mean, a lot of team guys, 5'11", 180,
average,
180. Maybe every once in a while a breacher would be like a 6'2" guy, 220, but for some reason could run fairly decent. You know what I mean? You have some of those freaks along the way. Yeah.
Just animals, even just online, on the front line, I mean, special forces, of course, that's a given. But even on the front line, just athletes all over the place.
Yeah, way more than you think.
Oh, yeah. They feed us very well.
Yeah. Did you join right out of high school?
Yeah, I did that 2.5 months of basketball with Fresno, and then I just said, this is it.
Yeah.
I'm going. They offered me $20,000 and stole half of it, but I still got some of it.
Yeah.
That was my first sign of taxes. They took my bonus. They signed me up for $20,000. I got $13,000. I said, I signed up for 20. I think this is wrong. Someone's like, no, dummy, taxes.
Yeah, you're like, what the hell is that? 18 years old, and like money's pulling out.
Oh man.
Like, dude, literally, like when I was in, like as a because I went E1 out of boot camp, I didn't get meritoriously advanced, whatever. I just went from get go. Got out as an E5, going up for E6. But oh my God, the pay was like maybe you get $1,200, maybe $1,000 a month. There's something silly like that in the beginning. You're like, gosh damn, man, how'd you make a living? I was like, that's why I stayed in the barracks and I ate at the chow hall, because there was the only money I had was for beers. You know what I mean? But so right out of 18, where'd you go to boot camp?
Fort Benning.
Fort Benning. You went to Benning.
Yeah.
And
or
then,
I don't know the new name.
Fort Leavenworth. I think there's one out in Fort Leavenworth too.
Not for infantry?
Oh no, you went infantry. So
Benning. Fort Benning.
They changed. Oh, don't get me started on that.
What's the new name?
I don't. Fort something silly. Yeah,
Fort Mickey. Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse. Yeah, exactly. Poor Army guys. Jeez.
Benning is that's a top-notch base, right?
Well, back when I was in, I went through, and I actually got the pins I went through the Army's jump school.
Okay.
You know what I mean? As a SEAL team.
It's at Benning.
Now, obviously, the SEAL teams, they got all their own stuff. It's been a lifetime, obviously, for me. But, man, they do some cool stuff. But I really felt pretty cool going through with the Army through their jump school. I mean, it was a really, really good experience. I mean, I really liked it there for the time frame. What was that, 6 weeks? Maybe 6 weeks of jump school, 8 weeks?
4? 4 weeks, something like that.
And then you get 5 or 6 static lines.
I got no clue. I didn't go through it.
Yeah. But it was a good experience. But Benning was a good base, good post.
Yeah, you got the Ranger School there. Mm-hmm. Special Forces is there.
And then so that's where you went through infantry right there.
Yeah, infantry. Yep. It's home of the infantry base.
Did you now how long? Because if I'm correct, you get deployed twice.
Yeah, so once in the military and then once as a combat contractor.
Oh, combat contractor.
Yeah, so I went back.
Yeah. I think we did the same. 6 years?
Yeah.
6 active?
No, mine's not active. I had 2 years,
Active.
2 years active. That's it.
And then reserve?
And then I got, then the guard gave me a 1 year leave to go as a contractor. I came back and said, no more.
You were good to go.
No more. I'm not doing this.
Were you more Afghanistan or Iraq?
Iraq. I went
most.
only Iraq.
Oh, yeah. And what was your time frame?
So I went 08, 09, 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
So I went for about, I had about a 5-month gap.
Yeah, that was it.
So for about two years, I was there solid.
Yeah, that's crazy. More so as a contractor, correct?
Yeah, same time frame, year each.
Yeah, year each.
Yeah.
So like when you got out, and then we're kind of like steamrolling into your career now, which is why I wanted you on the show, because we're building followers, and a lot of them are veterans, and you and I are, basically have, someone on our heart for these guys and gals that we feel that are not getting the benefits they can. But when you got out, did you work for the VA right away?
Yeah, so I got lucky. I was a work study here at the medical center at Fresno. Mm-hmm. The chief of HR was an infantryman, right? And he goes, "Hey, I heard you're infantry." I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, you want to go HR?" I said, "I have no idea how to type, sir. Like nothing, bro." Like, he goes, "I don't care. I'm about to quit in 2 weeks. I want to hire you first."
No way.
So I got in after 3 weeks as HR. So I started learning all their policies, procedures, all their rules, all their bad choices, right?
And then what was your job duty in the human resources? Was it for us as the veterans and yourself?
No, actually.
Or was it for the hospital?
For the hospital.
Hospital.
So I was like in charge of a few departments, and I would do the payroll, the benefits, the policies, and you got to remember that the VA is super compartmentalized.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like that on purpose. So not everyone knows everything about everything. Right. And so as HR there, you would think you'd have a little bit more leniency on what works for this medical center.
Right.
But it's not. It's ran by these regional things called VISNs, right? VISN, Veteran Integrated Service Networks, something like that. And so ours is in Oakland, right? Our regional is in Oakland. So what works in Oakland cannot work in Fresno.
100%
guys.
agree with you.
And Fresno is actually one of the biggest, one of the most populated medical centers. And it's, last time I heard, it's still ranked number 2 for services, right? I mean,
in the country?
Yes.
Wow.
I lived in Oregon for a little bit now.
With the VA? Yeah.
No,
not working
I
for the
moved
VA?
there.
Okay.
I actually, after my service, I struggled quite a bit, right? Mm-hmm. Obviously, I'm 22. I've already done a couple of years overseas. Experienced some things. Obviously, nothing compared to most guys. Like, I don't want to say I'm this because I'm not that, right?
No, dude. And listen, same thing. We and on camera and everything, thank you for your service. And I get the same thing,
That's you.
Yeah, exactly.
You're the SEAL, brother.
But also, too, it's like, it's one of those things where, we called, stolen valor, and there's a lot of guys that get out there in the community, get on podcasts or talk here and there. It's like they talk about what I did. Bro, you probably really didn't do all the things you said. Like, I was in from 78 to 84. You do the math, you could do history. I wasn't around when there's a lot of stuff going on. But really what we are as brothers is the fact that we served our country, you know what I mean? And things like that. And that's all that counts. I learned that from an old Vietnam vet. It was 1990, right before Desert Storm. Mm-hmm. I had graduated already as a doctor. I'm in Seattle, and I'm in a bar, single guy by myself. I was doing my internship. And this old, salty dog, sitting in the bar drinking. We found out they were military, and he was a team guy. And, he was a Vietnam guy. So he was kind
Vietnam team guy?
Yeah. No, dude, hard as nails. And the dude was like a, what do they call him? When they're in the forestry service where he's up in a tower, just looking for fires by himself. He goes, that's the way I like it. Yeah, definitely.
Scary.
Yes. And I was telling the guys, it's, I think I'm going to call in, I'm already a doctor. Maybe they'll take me back, go through part of Buds again and whatever. And the guy just kind of, bought me a beer and he's like, hey, listen, he goes, you served this country. He says, you did your time. You're a doctor now. He goes, now you can serve people differently. He goes, nobody wakes up in the morning in the military and says, you know what, Johnny, today I feel like killing somebody. Nobody does that. And if you do, the military doesn't want you because that's a loaded cannon. Right. And
for both measures, for the enemy and your own team.
No, dude,
right?
Legit, bro.
They're
legit.
a straight liability, bro.
Yes. And so when I thought that, and he says, hey, listen, man, you did your time. Thank you for your service. And I'm getting this from a Vietnam guy that did way more than I did. He goes, it doesn't matter what you've done. You put your arm up to the flag, and that's why we're such patriots. Like, we protected our country, and that's what the important part is. And like
sadly,
you said,
I think that's going away. Man.
Yeah, man, isn't it?
These guys are joining for the education, even though that whole thing's a lie to them and they don't even know that. They don't know they're taking out of their checks.
Back to your job, what made you, because you're going to go into this, what made you kind of like, you're with the HR, like when did the light bulb go off? Wait a minute, like there's some things I think I can do different to help our men and women.
Well, that took years to come, right? So that was in 2012. I was HR with them. 10 years ago, 11 years ago, right?
How many years did you work for them?
6 total. Different roles, different things.
And I don't want to open up the present here on what you're doing now because we're going to roll with this to build you into it.
I'll set it up right now. I'll kind of go through the 10-year kind of how I got there, right? And so I was going through struggling a lot as HR myself. I got onto extreme substances, became homeless while working. And so I would just shower at the gym, go to work, right? Living in my car. And then I lose my car, right? I'm on the streets, lose my job.
And they're not paying you pennies. You're getting paid pretty good, but you're blowing it on.
No, they are paying me pennies. Let me tell you. So here's how the federal salary system works, right? They tell you a good number. But they max you on the FICA, the health insurance, the dental, and you have no choice. You have to get this,
right,
even though you're VA covered.
Yeah.
My take home was $1,800 a month from an HR job in 2012.
10 years ago? Oh my
$1,800 a month. And at that time, the VA was denying me disability. I wasn't even making no disability, but I was jacked up. So I started, getting on substances extremely bad. Became homeless, and then I moved out to Oregon to change my life. I lost my daughter, got taken from me. I had a lot taken from me, right? My fault. Yeah. Okay, I can only blame the finger on other people before I got to look at what I'm doing.
Yep.
Right? Why am I running from things? And this goes back to warrior mindset, right?
Yeah.
I lost it for a little while, right? And so I moved to Oregon. I changed my life. I come back. I start working for the VA again.
Different role?
Yeah, customer service. I did a little bit of everything. I did the disability office, customer service, patient advocate. No veteran dies alone, where I'd stay with them for 24 hours till they died.
So then this is where you're building this mindset in your own mind. This mindset is like, hey, these guys and gals aren't getting what they deserve.
Right. And then I start using these benefits. I start getting blessed by benefits. And now I start working the system, getting paid 10, 12, 14,000 a month from the VA. This is per month. This took my life from the streets to, my wife did too. Bless you. Bless you, baby. Yeah. I couldn't do it without this lady.
We'll give her some compliments too.
Gorgeous.
Shout out.
Gorgeous. And so I get all these benefits, and now I'm a state veteran rep for California, right? And so that's 2019. I'm coming in here. I might be off a year or so. I do that for 2 years, right? The state starts messing with me, man. They're not giving me salary correct. They're not.
This is for your employment, not your disability.
Right. So now I'm a state rep, California veteran rep, right? And so now I start fighting the VA for veterans to get things, and I start winning. Yeah. I mean,
you're just doing this kind of on the side?
This is my public job now.
Oh, still a public job.
Yeah, I'm a state vet rep, so I get paid from the state of California to help veterans with a multitude of things.
And these guys are telling you, whoa, bro, you're paying these guys too much. You're winning too much.
Yeah. And so they start backing me off, hounding me to stop. Hey, that's not your job. This is your job. Don't be going and doing that. But I'm like, wait a second, but this is the part that's changing their lives, guys. Not what I do for you. It's what they're able to get right off the bat. And so I get good at all this. And I said, you know what? I'm going to take a shot. And I open the business. I send out about 500 texts to 500 vets in my phone.
Did you jump ship right away, or did you kind of stay with the ship a little bit, kind of delve out on your own a little bit?
Jumped off.
Dude, serious?
Jumped off the cliff, right? Nice. My wife saying, right? She's scared, right? I mean, they pay me well at that
Well,
job,
you're still getting your benefits though.
No, I'm 100% still, right?
Yeah.
I'm still getting all my
but
benefits.
But it's not paying all the lifestyle because your lifestyle was different before you jumped ship.
Or without a doubt, I'm going to school and we'll get into these benefits where I'm just making a killing, right, off benefits. But it's still scary, right? We're leaving a for sure income, $5,000 a month to jumping off, right?
To nothing.
So I started in my house the first few weeks, and then I said, you know what, kind of safety measures, right? I've been around a lot of veterans.
Right, being in your own home. No, totally agree.
So I got my first office. Hey,
is that where you're at now?
No, wasn't what I liked.
Yeah,
but I had to do it, right?
Yeah.
I just found this office. I said, boom, this is
got a nice little office now, though.
Perfect.
Yeah,
perfect blessing. Which I'm getting another one for Jordan now.
Nice.
We're moving.
Same building.
Yep.
Same building, just two suites.
2 suites.
Yeah.
We're booming now, man.
Yeah.
And then. So now I build for a few months, I start reinvesting in, boom, get another office, get the website. Now I have an employee. I have a few work studies because my business is accredited that if veterans are going to school, they go work for me part-time and the VA pays their salary. That's huge for me.
Yeah.
That's a free workforce for me.
Yeah.
The veteran gets blessed with money and they also learn about this whole entire system.
Right.
And you know what? I remember in the VA for the first 3 years, they took 3 years to pay me disability while I'm losing everything. My whole life's collapsing. I'm not eligible for services. I become homeless those couple of years. I have a bitter taste from the VA. Now, don't get me wrong. They super bless my life now and my wife. My wife makes $3,000 a month from them too.
Yeah.
She's not a vet, right?
Yeah.
But I remember that feeling, and working with veterans, everyone has that feeling. Right? They got screwed. They got kicked to the curb because they're getting 10% for 20 years. They went to combat.
Yeah.
They didn't go to combat. They're 0%. They're not eligible now for nothing. That's not okay.
Well, and also too is
right.
So how we met, is through a friend of a friend. My disability started before I went through the SEAL team. I was in the Philippines, and I know. Yeah, we could talk about the Philippines, at a different time. But I wound up getting jumped and getting stabbed, and I was in the hospital for 10 days with a systemic infection. Everything healed. Fortunate enough to get through buds and spend my time in the SEAL team. But
let's pause there. This guy just got stabbed, and he goes to buds. Guys, do you guys understand that?
Yeah, it was
going to Navy SEAL school right after being stabbed.
Yeah,
in his
stabbed
back.
in August, and I started buds in September. Yeah. I don't even think about that. Thank you, though. I appreciate that. Yeah. But so then 30 years later, I wind up having a stroke. And I was in the hospital in Florida and all this type of stuff. And they're like, "Oh my God, you're gonna need a heart transplant." And I'm like, "Dude, I look like this. I'm in in great shape, but it was from the infection of the stab wound 20, 30 years ago." So I come back and everything, does okay. They put a bunch of stents in my heart and whatever. Just a couple of stents.
What's it do?
The stents?
What? No, the infection. What happened?
Oh, it just probably clogged the arteries. They said the arteries were clogged.
And over time?
Infection, like scar tissue and whatever. I'm a freaking doctor, but I'm not a cardiologist. So it was like when the guy's telling me, well, it's probably from this. I go, could it be from this? And he goes, yeah, it definitely could be. So when I came back in our gym on the other side of the wall here, we got a lot of veterans, police officers, firefighters, and whatnot that come in. And a bunch of the boys are like, "Man, you were stabbed and this and that." And they go, "Man, you should go to the VA because you have disability." Because up until then, didn't have any disability, whatsoever. Then I talked to the VA, and a great, good advocate, definitely helped me out, but got me to a certain level. You know what I mean? And
no, you got yourself to that level. He just fired he just filled out the application.
And it's ironic because then I got through a good buddy of mine, Jimmy Reyes. We'll get him on the show one of these days here too. Is a veteran, and he was an Air Force guy, and he introduced me actually to Jeremy. And he was like, "Man, you got to talk to this guy because Doc, you're not being treated the way you should, from all these type of things." And then you get, the cholesterol problems, and then you get the back pain, and you got, I never thought about it, for myself is, you get stabbed, and you think about these things all the time, and then they say, well, that's post traumatic stress, and a lot of our veterans don't know these things until somebody like yourself is an advocate for guys like us, and obviously you're a veteran too. You're doing it for yourself. But, you don't realize that these things do linger on for all the years in your life. So I originally got that 90, and I've been fighting for the last couple of years because I wound up going back in a year and a half ago for 2 more stents. So now I'm like Tony Stark from, freaking Iron Man. I got 6 freaking, stents in my heart. But then a couple of weeks ago, I competed in a bodybuilding contest. So there's no giving up. You know what I mean? There's no quitting. The only easy day was yesterday.
And took second.
Yeah, first place loser. That's what I tell people. I'm still going to be fighting, man. Got to get that first place. But, so with you, did you, when you started getting information on how to file these things, did you do most of it yourself?
Yeah, I learned through trial and error.
Trial and error.
Yeah.
Nice.
And shout out to when I was a state and a few guys, I had to learn somewhere.
Mm.
But that's where I started learning is doing my own things because I got myself up to major benefits even just by myself before even knowing all this stuff, before even fighting the VA all the time for things. So it's just trial and error through my own stuff, and then trial and error through
people you helped along the way.
When I was a public employee,
Right.
So I did it for a salary. I didn't do it for anything more.
Yeah.
But I feel like the level at this point where people are getting income and benefits and successes at a rapid rate, right? So you're not starting at 20, 30%. You're starting at 70, 80, 90, 100% right off the bat.
So when I came to Jeremy, I was just at 90, I think 89, maybe it's 89, 90. And it's one of those things where, there's a couple of things that I've been fighting for, obviously, jumping out of planes and the lower back and the PTSD and things of that nature, and puncture an eardrum and dive phase in buds, and, there's scar tissue and a little bit of ringing in the ears, but they were always fighting that no, 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 no. And then when I came to Jeremy, we were in the process of, making another filing that should get me towards 100%, even though I still have some things that have been denied. I mean, we can probably go over, whatnot, but I think most of the people, are veterans that don't feel they deserve, and this is coming from me only, people that feel they don't deserve, I then will counter that with them is like, listen, there's people coming over illegally on this border, and get political, because it pisses me off. Come over across illegally in the border, getting money, getting housing, getting totally taken care of. And our veterans are not getting taken care of. And a guy like Jeremy is making sure one man at a time, right? One woman at a time. But this is one man, and now he's got he's got another associate working with him, is like giving our service members what they deserve. And, my hat's off to you, for helping out these men and women, because our country's upside down, bro.
Yeah.
It's upside down. And, I'm sure in your own room with your clients, in your mindset is like people are coming across the border all day long and they're getting money left and right, and then we're not, taking care of our veterans.
That's why I just focus on the veterans.
Mm-hmm.
I can't worry about nothing else.
Yeah.
I can't control it. It's collapsing
Yep.
no matter what. And none of us can change anything.
No,
right? But I think it's more of, how I'm booming is because the type of assistance, right? Everyone can file an application for you. There's people that just file your application and charge you $500 just to do that.
Yeah, but one of the things I'm going to compliment you on, and this is for the folks that do listen to this, and hopefully we'll get some guys and gals that'll, jump on board with you. One of the things that I felt personally is, and obviously you can tell the demeanor, Jeremy in here, he's like definitely personable. He's legit. He's, genuine. His partner, in crime that he's hired on to help him out, Jordan, these guys care about the veterans. You know what I mean? And he just alluded to the fact that you can go to the VA, and ironically, he put more of the compliment on me, where, no, Joe, you really filed the paperwork because you're just giving a guy a typewriter what to type.
That's it.
Where I found working with you in the beginning, and I'm now working with you and Jordan, to finish my paperwork, it's like, no, explain, Joe, how this made you feel. Explain how this was. You know what I mean? And I think when we put that information on paper, the person reviewing it kind of sees a real person. You know what I mean?
They see the whole picture.
Yeah.
Right?
You know what I mean?
They're able to put themselves in your shoes at that point, right?
Yeah.
And it's all the questions we keep asking you, right? We'll dive in and keep asking you and kind of almost bring it out of you that when you came in, oh, but I don't have any problems. But in reality, we all share that. It doesn't matter if you got PTSD from a shark bite, you got PTSD from jumping out of a plane. The same issues come out of the same disability.
Right.
Doesn't matter what caused the disability, but we all can't sleep.
Mm-hmm.
We all have nightmares.
Mm-hmm.
We all have some outburst problems at times, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think anyone in the world has all these problems as well. Me and you are just blessed to get paid for.
Right.
And I really try to remind veterans that how blessed we are to even get paid this. You think other armies get paid? They lost their arm in the service. They don't get paid for that.
Oh, different countries?
Yeah. They don't get paid for that. Yeah. There's a lot of cracks in this system, right? But what the assistance we're providing is step by step. And I think that's what's crucial to getting a successful claim. Anyone can file your claim, but the work you put in to file that claim is going to be the outcome, right?
Well, I think also too is when you come to a place like your place, you're getting it. There seems to be this genuineness and agape. There's that love that you have for the veterans. And I'm not saying at the VA they don't either. Some of the advocates, but really it just seems like they're in the job. It's just mundane.
I'm passionate, man.
Oh no, bro.
I'm passionate about this.
I mean, way more than you think he is too.
I'm passionate. Yeah, I get excited to get you guys money. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong. It's a business. Yes, I charge, of course. Yeah. But that's why I'm motivated even more, right? Mm-hmm. Like, oh yeah, I charge a back pay fee, but if I didn't charge that back pay fee and I charge you money up front, where's my motivation to get you paid?
Dude,
there's no motivation.
And there's like, if I can just, compliment you more or just promote you more, I think as a veteran, if I can get to the point where they allot me the 100%, technically, correct me if I'm wrong, they can't really go back and re-rate me, correct?
As long as we get you the total and permanent attached with that, right?
Where if you're anything below that, periodically they can just out of a whim, we think you're now 60%, correct?
Yeah.
Relatively speaking?
Yeah, even if laws change, they'll just slap the law on you.
Yeah.
Hey, law changed, now you're 10% instead of 30%.
Right. If you get to 100,
you're done.
You're done.
Your fight's over.
And so that's one of those things where I think his company's doing a very good job. At the end we'll get you making sure you'll get the information, and you guys that are veterans that feel that you've been hitting the wall, all this contact information and whatnot. But how many people, just for argument's sake, and let's see, how long you been on your own now?
I've been on my own 9 months, and we have 600 veterans.
Okay, there you go.
600 already. Yeah. And so,
how many are like, so say for example, a prime example, like I do car accident cases, how many car accidents you got in the books? Not all of them were working. I'm working on the cases. We're doing filing and they're, send it to the attorney, but then you have the ones you're treating and dealing. Like how many clients are in the mix? Like say myself, I'm in the mix of the paperwork.
About 250 active right now.
Dude, you needed Jordan.
I needed him. I was overwhelmed. I was doing like 16 to 18 hour days, texting people back at 12 at night, 1 in the morning.
Yeah, we've done that, I think, once or twice ourselves.
In the beginning, right? Yep. Because that was the only time I had. Mm-hmm. But I'll do whatever it takes because, to be honest, the results are there. I mean, I do everything, not just disability is one factor. I made $100,000 a year going to school for 6 years. Oh, wait, the VA said we only get 4 years. That's false. I still have 30 months left on my 9/11 after 8 years of school already.
Yeah.
So I teach all of this. I teach where to go to get the highest. Oh, there's certain policies where I got an extra $200,000 going to school that I didn't have to pay.
Yeah, that's one of the things that, I already got my doctorate, and I've been in practice for years, but I've always been really interested in, the
basket
psychology.
Weaving. He's interested in basket weaving for a bachelor's.
I'm going to basket weaving, okay?
To get the money.
Listen, but the cat's out of the bag.
The cat's.
But, I did, and I never knew this. It's one of those things I've looked into, I love school too, you know what I mean?
Learning.
And, from a psychological point of view and learning how to communicate with people even better, even from a seminar point of view, like a PhD, another PhD, then I'll have the DC as the doctor and the PhD then too. Then they'll have to call me Doctor.
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 I just got my master's in yesterday.
Yeah, you did. Oh, man,
Yeah,
congratulations. Yeah.
Yeah, I got it in yesterday. It came in. It's not on the doctor level yet, but that's coming.
That's coming. Yep.
That's coming.
See, folks, then there we go. All right. See, we can Golden State. There we go. Master's degree. And, through the paperwork that he's able to do, and, some of the people think they're done. They think when they get out of the military, oh, woe is me and whatever, and, I got a buddy of mine, former team guy, lost sight in his eye, and he's got somebody back east, but he was like, oh, no, I thought I was done. He got retired, didn't get any disability, like get a couple pennies. He's like, oh, my gosh, now I'm hearing.
How disrespectful is that? A couple pennies.
Yeah, no, it was terrible. Like, I mean, the amount of money that he's lost, I think, from the military, so he kind of has his, no pun intended, Rick, but both eyes open now. You'll get that joke, bro. My best buddy is one of those guys, Rick Dunlap. Maybe he'll listen to this. But we were same platoon. He's on my wall here, and but yeah, he's just kind of got screwed too. Then since I met you, he found a guy in the East Coast.
Good for him.
As
long as he gets it.
Yeah, and he does well. Also, he's going to get it financially, but he kind of gets it now. Like, oh my God, I put my time in the service. I lost this. He was in a parachute rigging accident, and but never knocked him down too. Like the guy, he's a PT and DC. He's a physical therapist and a chiropractor. You know what I mean? We went to college together too after we got out. But yeah, like, I mean, what makes you wake up every morning and get to work? Like, obviously,
a few things.
Yeah, go ahead.
Right. I always love to prove people wrong. Right. I was always kind of disadvantaged. I grew up very poor, trailer park kind of thing. My mom did her best. Bless you, Mom. I know you did. It's hard on your own. But I always kind of carried that chip, and then it just never left. When I got told so many things, getting fired from jobs, veterans are crazy. They're this. They can't adapt. They can't be like us. Yeah, right. Because I'm coming, and as long as you can keep that warrior strength, right, that mental toughness. Now, there's a lot of good things from the military, and that's part of it. That mental toughness. If we can control ourselves, we're unstoppable.
Well, that's why I think in the military, especially with us, and heck, we could be talking like this, and we could get people listening to this podcast, and you get some young bucks and gals too that go, man, these guys are pretty squared away. And believe me, there's many rocky roads and, peaks and valleys and whatever. But the military, going through the military, gives you some sort of foundation that is ridiculous. Some people's are better than others, but I think most military guys, it's like granite. Because when you climb, and sometimes you slide down. It's like that board game as kids. It was called Chutes and Ladders.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And every once in a while you get damn sliding, like son of a bitch. Down a freaking slide back to zero. We've all been there. And that's the way life is. Life is like chutes and ladders. At any given point, you could hit the freaking slide. But every once in a while, guess what you're going to hit? The ladder.
Jackpot.
The ladder.
Yeah.
Ladder gets up 2-3 levels, right? That's going to be on a short, I think. Because it is. Life is like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? And if we have that granite foundation, we go, that's okay, man. And we'll go back to zero on that board. But we know if we hit a good pay dirt, we're going to get that ladder right up to the top, almost to where we're going to win the game. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think that's what you're doing with some of these young guys and gals. Because listen, you're military people. Your foundation is granite, no matter what. It's not going to crumble after here. If we're on the bottom, don't worry. We're going to climb that ladder. And the together aspect is you and your company. That's the way I feel as a client. Yeah. I mean, I feel that way as a client. You know what I mean? Because if I win, obviously you win. But guess what? It's like a fine restaurant. You get good food. You get good service. What are you going to do? You're going to tell your friends. You know what I mean? And good things come to people. Good things come to a company like yours that puts in good, God willing work enough to get these guys and gals what they deserve.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. The second thing is, me and my wife went through a lot of years of struggling financially and other things like this. And and she's busting too. So I got a grinder too. So she's not just sitting; she's grinding herself.
Or
so,
she's not letting you sit either.
Right. We're both like planted the seed 7 years ago, and now we're finally seeing it start to come to life. And it's
But correct me if I'm wrong. In the 7 years, there's probably been pitfalls and quicksand,
without a doubt.
Between you and her, and things like that, or spinning a wheel where you don't feel like you're making any progress together. You know what I mean? How do you work through that? Because I don't care what anybody says, no marriage is easy. And then all of a sudden you're starting your own business. How did you guys?
Yeah, and she didn't give me the blessing either, right?
Oh,
So she was scared for me to do. She told me not to do it, actually, and I got her response for that. I understood. I just said, me, I'm going bigger. I'm going home.
Yeah.
And I think it's just what else to say? You got to love each other, man. And I think you got to work. You got to work at that relationship the same as you work at your business, or it's gonna snap. It's gonna collapse.
That's a good point, because what happens is, you got guys like you and me, we're go-getters, and then you have a tendency to let the fringe kind of go. And sometimes men put women on a fringe, where women should be put, in the seat next to you.
Yes.
Where a lot of times we don't do that. And listen, I've been guilty of that before, in my relationships too. Is like, let me just work. It's like a plow. You're working all day long and the snow's going over the plow, right? Right. That's the money. Baby, don't worry about it. Just to take the money. Just throw it in the back. We're making a plow. Right? What happens is, we don't take time, as guys, because we're 100 miles an hour. We have that armor on every day. We don't take it off, and it's
which can be bad sometimes too.
Bro, and
right?
I'm sure you've experienced that in 7 years, building the business with her. I'm sure you've had your highs and lows.
Yeah.
And how do you get through it? How did you guys, you guys are in a good place. How did you get, was it a sit down thing? Was it a religious thing? Was it a combination? Was it a,
combination, right?
Yeah.
I started trying to do the little things, gassing up her car, bringing her coffee after my workouts in the morning.
Texting here.
Showing that I love her, right?
Yeah.
And showing her that she's loved, right?
Yeah.
Because don't get me wrong, veterans, hey, we can be the opposite as well. We can be
100%.
jerks, without a doubt.
Yeah. Or it gets to a certain point, and I've talked to people about this before too. We're mild-mannered dudes. But if you get pushed and pushed and pushed, and then you get to a corner, like sometimes I don't like who I become. And I've been in that situation before, and I'm sure we've talked about it, we're doing our business together. It's not who we are.
Yeah.
But man, when it does come out, and all of a sudden you just blow up and you're just like, shit.
Feel guilty.
Right?
I feel guilty.
Right?
And if you don't feel guilty, you gotta take care of that.
Yeah,
you gotta get some work in.
And that's a whole different a whole different thing. But if it's just one of those things, and I like your idea, some of the guys and gals out there, it works both ways, because you're saying you're working 16 hours, you got to get home and you got to be present. You can't be tired. We can't. You know what I mean? And 16, believe me, as a chiropractor, gym owner, I've had those days, and I've made plenty of mistakes along the way. As far as you get home, and all of a sudden you're just like, boo, and
tired.
Yeah, and as long as you get into that house and you make sure you pay attention, all you got to do is 10 minutes. If you just get 10 minutes, they're going to be like, he loves me. And then you go on with your day, you go on with your evening or whatever it is. You know what I mean? And those are those things where sometimes we miss as guys. You know what I mean? So you get home, be present for 10, 15 minutes, then they're good. You know what I mean? But man, I'm happy that because we know as veterans, relationships are very difficult. And you must see that a lot when you're typing out forms.
Yeah, well, I help these guys write their story, right? The VA or these processes never give us a chance to tell us our story. It's always like, what are you doing now, right? But what happened to where you are the way you are now? That's what we get into, right? What military, like you, for example, you don't mind me using you.
Yeah, no.
The stabbing, that's got to cause major complications, right? Just mentally.
And you don't, and it's funny because you don't think about it because we're supposed to be badasses where we are, right? And if we never say anything, we never get the compensation, for the time we served our country.
Right.
And you're the one, and which is a prop to these guys, him and Jordan, is that I like the way you use it is, and if you guys ever do utilize his services, you got to tell the story, because I would have blown it off. You go, and we sat down just like this, and you go, just tell me about yourself. And all of a sudden you get this picture of who I am, and you're like, well, why didn't you ever mention this before? I thought it was no big deal. I'm kind of tough. I'm an older guy now.
I'm a CEO.
Yeah, you don't want to say any of that stuff. And you're like, no. You need the government to know this because you were a SEAL.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And it's sad you even have to do that.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Like, you're a CEO, that should be given to you right when you walk off.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's why I ask all them questions. I ask, like, hey, now do you walk down an alley at night? Do you look around all the time? Are you pulling up to a place, checking the rooftops, looking around? You feel threatened sometimes. Do you put your back to an entrance to a room? 10 years ago, I couldn't do this.
Yeah.
I couldn't, because I seen where we walked in, right? But 10 years ago, I couldn't do that. I was scared to leave my back open. Now I just let it ride, man. Because if it's going to get me, it's going to get me no matter what, right? But I got that monkey off my back.
Funny you say that, because I think we talked about it when we were just at our session, just filling some paperwork for the VA, is I have an oldest daughter, and she's 30, and I just raised her that, she got a little tattoo on her clavicle. It says, always your baby SEAL, But we fight. We fight when we go to restaurants to see who gets to face the door. And she's like, she's a little badass. And she's like, all right, Dad, if I'm with you, you can have you can face the door. You can have your back against the wall. Because when I'm with my friends, they think I'm freaking nuts. I go, man, I just learned from my dad. I got to see what's going on in that front door. This is a girl, man, a little tiny 5 foot, little beast, man. And she's like, nah, like, I got to see the front door. I just raised my kids that way, good and bad, because then you're like, well, Joe, why didn't you tell anybody this before? Because I didn't think about it. I thought it was just a training part. No, it's also a psychological thing too.
Right.
You know what I mean? I can deal with it now. You can deal with it now with your back against the door and the curtain. But like you said, 10 years ago, you couldn't.
Well, I think you manage it. You learn how to manage it.
That's
right?
a good way to look at it.
I think we're always going to have these issues, but you learn to manage, right? Because if not, I like I said, I like to prove people wrong in every aspect, right? I struggled through school. I was always suspended. I barely graduated. Well, now I got a master's. Now what's someone's going to tell me,
awesome.
right?
Yeah.
I was tiny. I always get picked on. I was the only white kid in all my classes getting jumped. I put on a little bit of muscle, right? And maybe that's because of that. I don't know. I just love working out now. Yeah. Right?
Oh, no, I think it's that, what do they call it? Body dysmorphia, right? Technically, that's a mental thing too. You know what I mean? I'm 62, almost 63 years old. Like, I already got my gear. I'm going to be working out, sometime tonight. Because mentally, I'm like, I'm too small, I'm too skinny. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. And you definitely got it, bro. You do. Because you're still working out. You go, no, I got to look good in the shirt. I got to.
Well, especially I just dropped 20 pounds. It's hurt my knee,
And that's, and thank God the VA is going to take care of that, correct?
Blessing me with, well, they're sending me to Fresno State.
Oh, no, that's, yeah.
And, even better, right? Yeah. They're blessing me with the whole knee, tore the ACL, MCL, meniscus.
And had you, is that just wear and tear when you were in the military too? Or?
Someone tripped and smacked it from the side and blew it out.
Oh, okay.
So I wasn't even paying attention. All of a sudden, my knee buckles, and I'm screaming in pain.
And then the other person's like, "Oh my God, shit! I'm sorry," and
Yeah, they got off. Yeah, so it was it was bad, man. I never screamed like that in pain, man. I'm always a little baby. I'm a big baby, right? When it comes to pain or being sick, my wife will tell you. But
you're the guy in bed who's like, "Babe, can you get me some soup?" And you're blowing your nose and shit. Yeah. I tell you what, most
that's the only time I get attention, man.
most dudes with colds, and I hear it all the time. Oh yeah, my husband, he's a baby when he gets sick, and the wives are out there trucking the kids to soccer and to school and stuff, and the dude's at home. Baby, can you get me some coffee? Can you give me tea? Give me some tea with lemon.
Bring me some chicken noodle soup.
And all of a sudden, we're the guys out in the front line, man. He's like, shit like that doesn't matter. Oh man, geez, men. We're crazy sometimes.
That's okay.
But
we get paid for that now.
Yeah, we get paid for that now, yeah.
But yeah, I just love doing it, man. I love when someone comes to me and they're barely doing like they can't do anything in life due to financial stress. They're abusing substances, and I like to watch the transformation.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, taking veterans like that sometimes gets me burned too, because they get their money and they burn me, right?
And
because
that's life.
and they go back to the streets and they do what they do, right?
Yep.
But for the ones that don't, and
what is it? 95% are probably good apples. It's that 5%.
Yeah.
You're going to see that in the world, whatever we do. You know what I mean? And those you just got to write off mentally and just go, hey, man, because I'm a huge believer, bro, in karma. You know what I mean?
Well, I'll let collections, I'll write them off to collections and let them deal with that.
Yep.
Right.
And if you get pennies on the dollar, great. If you don't, if you see this little check, and I have that in my profession as a doctor, people, and then all of a sudden they're your best friend. Yo, bro, why are you sending me to collections? And you're like, oh, you should have talked to me 5 years ago when I finally 5 years ago. And now they're trying to rectify it. He's like, nah, man, sorry, you just deal with the collection agency.
Yeah.
Have a nice life. You know what I mean?
And it sucks to be like that, but you know what? I know what I definitely provide in getting these people. Now, anyone can say they can get you there, but I guarantee it, we do that plow work to have that high success rate.
So let me ask you this: with the way you're so, which like and I've got to know you a little bit in the time you've working with me too. Is there somebody in your life, like whether it was high school, it could have been a coach, could have been a platoon sergeant, captain, whatever? Is there somebody that you go, man, this guy? And we could have many stepping stones of people. Because
Right.
say you said it could have been my stepdad that stepped in. You could obviously you've mentioned your mom; she's probably on the top of the list. But like, there are people out there that kind of obscure that you go, oh, you know what? I remember this one guy that really helped me out, and I'll give you kind of a story on mine too. Like give me like 2 or 3 people at levels of your life. Say high school, beginning military, and then life as far as VA and your business.
I would
like
say
3 people.
high school coaches,
High school
right?
coaches.
You got the coaches.
Good
I played
ones.
a lot of sports. Yeah, a lot of them seen my upbringing. They helped me out a lot. They would get me that extra pair of shoes I couldn't afford.
Nice.
They would give me a ride home because they know my dad probably wasn't going to show up. They would hang out with me after games because no one came to my games. They were really good to me. I would say I was a little shithead too.
Yeah. And they knew it.
Oh, they knew it.
Yeah. But they probably knew that you needed that little bit of a moderate father figure that was, a little bit more stable, and things like that.
Yeah.
What about military? Was there a boot camp guy? Was there like when you went to your schooling, infantry, or like when you went downrange, to where you're like, this guy was squared away?
Yeah. We had if I don't mention your name, you watch this, I love you. I think everyone in my military unit, honestly, we had a very good unit, very good leadership, very courageous individuals, like straight beasts. I mean, seeing a guy hit by a bomb, he's like, I'm cool, let's continue the mission. Like, what?
Nice.
Dude, you just got smacked.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, heroes, right? I'm nobody, right?
Yeah.
But I watched a lot of these guys, man. And I'd probably look up at that time to Sergeant Alvarado. We had an E6. He was an E6, but he was an E9 to us, man. This guy, dude.
Solid.
Bro. And even my gun truck, Sandoval, Sergeant Sandoval, usually a private wouldn't get with the sergeant in the room, but there was no more room, so he was my gun truck commander and my roommate, right?
Oh, no way.
So, and then after, I would say, this doctor died in 2020, Dr. Nelson. He was my mental health guy, man. You know what? I was at the gym one day, and I was looking hella mad. I was in an Army shirt. So this guy, he's a huge old guy, right?
Yeah.
Older guy. He comes up to me and he goes, hey, man, you're mad, aren't you? I said, what do you mean I'm mad? He goes, dude, you're mad. Like, I can see it. Like, you're always mad. And you were in the Army, I'm assuming. I said, no shit. You know?
Right. And that's exactly the attitude you gave at the time.
That's exactly what I said, And he started smiling. He goes, hey, man, I'm going to give you my number, right? Put my number in your phone. He said, I don't care if you want to or not. And I'm like, what? Grab my phone. I'm like, what's your number? He's like, you're going to call me. I don't care what time of day it is. If you need help and you're going through it, struggling mentally, you're going to call me. I said, whatever, man, right?
Thank you very much.
about 6 months go by. It was like 2 a.m. And I said, you know what, man?
Like panic attack type of thing.
Yeah, it was really bad. I used to have a lot of problems from the service. You know, I was real young and I took a hold of it, man. I got a little work crazed, right? I was all for it. You know, that hate you carry. I don't know. It's different, man.
No, totally understand.
It's a different type of mindset, right? So I called him. I said, hey, man, I'm having this nightmare, man, and it won't go away. You know, and I can't. I would go to bed, right? And the Humvee tires are going. I could hear the tires, right? And I'm trying to shake myself. I still have this all the time, right? Trying to shake myself out. And then, boom, the bomb goes off and I just light up, you know, and it happens. It used to happen 10, 15 times before I go to sleep every night, right? It's like when people have that where they're falling and then they just shoot up, right? Yep. And it kept bugging me, but it used to ruin me. Like I used to get very mad over this nightmare, right? So I called him. He goes, hey, you're calling me finally. And I said, dude, did you just really answer at 2 a.m? I said, VA people don't even do shit when I call them, dude, you know? He goes, I told you you're going to call me. I said, all right. He's like, when can I come talk to you? Let's start getting some treatment, man. You need some help with all this stuff. And I said, all right. I said, well, it's kind of bad right now. I'm about to lose my place in 2 days. I'm on substances. You're going to see it. I look totally different than when you see me. I'll be right there. I was in Madera at this time, and he's in Fresno, right? All of a sudden, he comes to my place. He's right there, man. 5 a.m? And he's like, I want the first session. We're going to begin, you know? So about a month later, I lose that place, right? And then that's when I become homeless, whatever, right? And I moved to Oregon. Well, he stayed with me, man. I talked to him almost every day. We worked on some stuff. And I wasn't easy, right? I cussed him out multiple times. I hung up on him. I blocked him a few times, right? I was a big baby, right? But he got through to me, man. He started, because he stayed with me. And that's why I tell veterans, you know, it doesn't have to be a veteran that changes your life. You know, like this guy wasn't a veteran. So a lot of vets are, I won't talk to no one unless he's a vet. Like, stop that. You know, you're already blocking the help from receiving it.
What was his name?
Dr. Nelson, Mike Nelson.
Mike Nelson. Oh, hey, you know, we hope he's in a better place now.
Yeah.
But
shout out, man.
Yeah. No doubt.
Changed my life.
You had to mention the name, bro.
Yeah. And then my wife, I think, would be the next person. She's super, dude, changed my life. You know, I'd be a wreck. I do self-destructive behaviors.
You know, it's funny when we're on this, you know, on the podcast here, you know, and the concept, that warrior mindset. People don't understand that, you know, a warrior isn't solo.
Yeah.
A warrior needs a team. You don't see very many people, you know, getting out there doing it all on their own as a warrior. And whether it's, you know, putting on the armor and trying to run a business yourself, putting on the armor, trying to raise your kids yourself, putting on the armor and telling yourself, I'm going to be the guy in the front line and I'm going to be the only guy that's going to be doing all the work. You still need a team. You still need the support. And that's why it's, you know, super important, you know, for the audience that are veterans that do listen to this podcast, you know, to put on their armor every day, you know, fight every day, knowing that when you take it off, the day is over. Tomorrow comes another day. Because yesterday was the only easy day. It's already done. You've battled that battle. Get up in the morning, you do exactly the same thing. But people also need to know you can't be by yourself, right? You had this doctor that came across to you. You can't fill out the not that you can't, but you can't fill out the paperwork by yourself. Very, what did I say? You know, yes, you can, but you have a team that can help you get there better, quicker, you know? And I think a type of company that you have is very special in the sense that warrior mindset, you become the teammate of the person that you're working with.
Yeah.
And, you know, and eventually, you know, you can go, oh man, hey, listen, you know, I got a bunch of people coming together. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Hey, listen, you guys, you know, I'm getting a little luncheon together with some of the guys that I'm just finishing up some paperwork with, or I'm doing, you know, whatever it is. And then you're building that camaraderie of people that have the same likenesses, but each day they're all putting on the armor. You know what I mean? And I think that's one of the big things with your company that, you know, that I appreciate, that I wanted to get you on this because I think people need to know I'm not saying the VA can't help you, but it's a very robotic. It's not emotional. And I think the emotional aspect that you guys bring can help a ton of guys. You know?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. I don't know why I can speak, and sometimes veterans will just listen, man. I tell them right from the get-go, like I did you, you know, we got to communicate, man. We got to be on the same team. We got to stay on track. We got to stay on this path, right? And if we veer off this path, we need to get right back on the path. And that way we set you up for success, right? Whether it's bringing out your personal stuff in your life, whether it's bringing out where I help you before you have that big appointment, that mental health appointment where you go, you're nervous, you don't shower for 2 weeks or cut your hair. Stop doing that, by the way.
Yeah.
They can tell, okay?
Yeah.
Just show up yourself, guys.
Yeah.
Tell the truth of what you guys, you know, in the military, if we tell the truth, we lose our job, right? As an infantryman, if I tell them I'm struggling mentally, 100%. I lose my rifle.
100%.
Right? So we're not in there no more, though. It's time we tell the truth. The myth is, oh, they're going to take my guns. No, they're not. I have my guns.
Oh, yeah.
Right? They're not going to come take your guns. But that's why I'm there to help, like, either release these stigmas, right? And ask the right questions so we can get the right results.
Yeah.
And then I help you do that mock appointment. I help you write your statement. I help you collect all your documents, your evidence. We go through your record, highlight your record, compile all these things, and we got a very strong claim.
And also, too, is I think one of the things that, you know, that, and this is why we have you on the podcast, because, you know, I can express my feelings from it because I'm a doctor. I'm a definitely caring person. I know how to relate to people. And when I got referred to your office and we kind of, you know, hit it off, it's like I could tell the genuineness of your personality that it's not money. You have to pay bills 100%. But you're not, and this is out to the camera too, this guy's not out for the money. You know, he's out to make sure that every man and woman that has been in the service that has any type of service-related type of injuries or incidences, that you're compensated. And I think that's why I asked the question of the type of people that he, you know, thought about in his life, whether it's, you know, his mother, whether it's the coaches, whether it's a couple of the sergeants or staff sergeants and his wife along the way. It then, guess what it did? Grounded him as an individual to then to be able to put the armor on every day when he goes to work to say, okay, who do I got today? I got Johnny, I got Sally, I got Mary, I got Bobby. You know what I mean? How are we going to do this? You know, you put on this armor because you know it's those people behind you that gave you confidence to where I think, you know, today you're going to have, I mean, a super successful business. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's booming now, man. It's moving. I've been fully booked every day since I opened. I don't. Yeah. Just blessed, man. I'm glad everyone feels what I know that you know, for years my wife always, you know, you put all the stress on you. And I do put it all on me. But now I feel like working for myself and being able to do the things that I want to do and the way I want to operate these claims or these applications or what you should do, what you shouldn't do, releases that general patting on my back, right? Yeah. These government managers never served a day in their life. They're not even veterans, but they're managing a veteran program that they have no clue what really matters, right?
And it's funny because, you know, our young men and women and even our older veterans that never really even sat down with somebody like you or your company is that, you know, the military guys have that mentality, or a lot of them do, especially like our infantry guys or, you know, 0311 Marines, the SEAL team, special op guys, you know, they kind of forward, you know, tip of the spear. We live a life like a duck. People go, Doc, what do you mean by a duck? On the surface, we're calm, cool, and collective. You look out on the pond. Oh my God, look at the swan, look at the duck. Just cruising, right? But what the hell are we doing under the water? Kicking like a motherfucker, right? Working, bro. Working. So we have to still maintain that. We still have to maintain that persona. But the work underneath is what these guys do. We're paddling along the way. We're still kicking like crazy. We have to let the world know we're okay, but we're still digging deep underneath. We're still paddling away. And with that being said, the work is done. below the surface. On the top of the surface, we're just cruising, but really we're working hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And people need that groundwork underneath. You know, we need that paddle. We need those feet moving along the way because we still want to maintain that persona that, no, man, everything's good. You just floating along the way, Joe? No, I don't need that. I'm kicking like crazy. But we got people that are feeding us, people that are making sure the gas doesn't run out of the tank. And those are institutions like yourself, you know, that are really, you know, because we're still going to be a duck. You and me are still a duck. We're going to leave out of here. You're going to be tomorrow. You're going to have shit on your mind. But on the surface, people are like, bro, man, how come you always, people tell me all the time, Doc, why are you always so happy? Because I got a choice. And the choice is either you can be happy or you can be sad, mad, sad, all in one category. There's only two things. You can't have a half-assed day because that's a shitty day. Because why would you want a half-assed day? So I make it a point for myself when I wake up and, dude, people, you are lying out your butt if you don't wake up someday and you're just on a bad side of the bed. You know that cliche? What, Johnny woke up on the wrong side of the bed? That's real. That is real. But then I get out of bed, I take a shower, and I go, no, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. You know what I mean? And these are the things, the type of companies you have. And you're working with guys like me and other veterans along the way. It's like, I choose to have a good day. I don't choose to have a bad day. You know what I mean? I don't let it happen. Now, if I do, then I think to myself, and I'm in the medical field, I know people have terminal cancer. I think of those people. And I'm like, I'm going to have a bad day? Hell no. Make what each day you live on this earth, make it fun, make it happy, make it productive, because it could be different.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you guys are doing that for people. You know what I mean? Make it so, man, my day's going to be better. The military's paying for this. Got a little more income. My numbers are up here now. Wow, I'm at 90%. I'm at 100%. Now I can breathe a little bit.
Now we're going to waive your property taxes. Get you free registration.
Oh, man. Some little things, folks, man. Gosh, damn, this thing
more and more.
Blows my mind.
There's so much out there, you know?
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. You always say that the next day, right? So my wife always trips out. We could, let's say we argue the night before, right? She's still a little bitter about it, right? I'll wake up. Hey, how you doing, babe? You know, let's go. Let's do this, that. And my daughters do the same thing. And they're like, Dad. I said, why? The sun came up. It's a new day. You can't live yesterday. No. Like,
yeah, that's it. That's the SEAL team motto in that thing. The only easy day was yesterday.
Yeah.
Or with the other one we use all the time, and I think the military does too. We're on the sunny side of the dirt.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, as long as you're on the sunny side of the dirt, it's a good day.
Right.
You know what I mean? Hey, listen, we're going to finish up here in just a couple of minutes. I just really like to thank Jeremy. You know, listen, we could go on for, you were on another podcast before a couple of days ago, and he said, man, you could go 2 hours. I don't even know. You know, how long we going right now? It's about an hour and 15 minutes, which is awesome, and we could go on forever. But, you know, I think right now, just kind of finish it up now because we could go into a lot of politics and all that, and we don't need to do that today. Today's about you guys, the guys that are watching this video that are our veterans. It's like you need to get and what the name of the company so that people know? Yeah,
so it's Blue Cord Veteran Services. Mm-hmm. I'm located here in Fresno. I am talking to a few other major cities like Houston, one in Oregon and Portland, to start opening and branching out. 559-493-0919 is my mobile business number. And the address is 516 West Shaw Avenue, Suite 200, Fresno, 93704.
And then we'll make sure. Yeah, we'll make sure we get that. You know, Frankie will make sure you get that on our podcast when we have it. But you know, those are the things that we want to. You know, hey, listen, if we can help him branch out there, and you got people, you know, that you know really feel you know that the information that he's bringing forth is good. Hey, listen, we'll get him out to other cities along the way because. Like I said personally, and this is just me personally, is like, you know, we got people just walking across the border here and they're getting free money, free housing. I mean, there's crazy stuff going on in New York City with apartments and people just almost expecting from our government to do stuff. And then we got guys, you know, our military guys, and you had, you know, alluded to it too, that you had spent some time basically homeless, and that is just not sit right, you know, in my mind. And hey, listen, as my podcast get bigger, you know, we can repost this and whatever, have you back on to find out how you're doing. Maybe you're up in Portland then and you're in Houston. but we need to get our guys and girls, guys and gals, taken care of, from the military point of view, instead of, sending this money to, Ukraine or whatever. Our guys and gals should not be on the side of the street. So with that being said, this is Dr. Joe Martin, the host of the Mindset, right? That warrior mindset, right? So from the Warrior Mindset podcast, again, I'm Dr. Joe Martin. Thank you very much for listening to this, and stay tuned to some of his information that you'll get on our podcast. If you need to get a hold of Jeremy, I cannot stress enough how his company is helping a lot of our veterans. And listen, if you have any questions, please give him a call. So thanks,
Thank
bro.
you. Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Yeah.
Can't wait to get you done as well. And get you going as well, so you can really say that.
As a matter of fact, I'll put a little, behind the scenes type of deal when he gets me all squared away and things like that to let you know. And once again, you can reach me, at the Warrior Mindset podcast. If you have any questions, we can definitely go from there. But once again, Dr. Joe Martin saying thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you soon.